You are listening to episode 77 of Back to Here with Sarita, the new Manifesting Paradigm podcast. This is my first guest of 2026, and before we dive in, let me take a moment to introduce you to her. I had the pleasure of speaking with Sarah Currle, who grew up in Germany and now lives in Canada, and she shared bits of her life as a child seeing money exchanges and shared with us how this has impacted her relationship with money. Sarah Currle is a money hypnosis mentor and subconscious healer expert who has supported over 100 women since 2021 in stepping into aligned success, emotional freedom, and self-connection. Through her healing and transformational journey with hypnosis and other healing techniques, she got trained in hypnosis, Reiki, NLP, and EFT. This episode has a lot of nerdy science in it, so it's perfect for both the newbie and the seasoned manifester. Can't wait to share this episode with you. Let's go ahead and dive in. Hey there, I'm Sarita, and you're about to experience the modern approach to well-being where you get to establish the best and most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I'm on a mission to help you declutter energy and reclaim your power so you can be a magnet to what you desire. If you're looking for the optimal blend of mindset and healing, you're in the right place. My goal in this podcast is to share tools, resources, and practices that will help you along your healing journey. I'm so excited to be here with you today, so welcome to Back to Here with Sarita. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to Here with Sarita, the new Manifesting Paradigm podcast. This year, our theme is the embodiment manifester. So I'm really excited to have my first guest, Sarah Currle, who is from Germany. Very excited. She's also the curator of the quantum frequency coding. She is a money hypnosis mentor. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining me on this first episode of the year of my first guest. Yay, congratulations.
Hi, Sarita. Hi, everyone listening to the podcast. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about all the manifestation things, identity work today with you.
Yes, and I'm so happy that you actually mentioned identity work. So part of the embodiment manifester theme is really talking a lot more about the embodiment aspect of manifesting. For the last few years, my podcast has been a lot that has to do with mindset work, and I have sprinkled a little bit of the nervous system work. But since me personally, I've been nomadic now for the last 7 months, living kind of wherever life takes me, and realizing the importance of the identity work as part of entity of manifestation. But we'll get into all those juicy things in a minute. I would love to find out from you, Sarah, so you can share with the audience, as you are a money hypnosis mentor. Money is such one of those words that I feel is so misinterpreted, and then everybody has their own translation of it. Before you get into like how exactly you started with like the fascination of being like, into hypnosis, because I want to dive into that area as well, because that's just so, I love hypnosis. Paint us a picture of your upbringing and what has brought you to where you are right now when it comes to being a mentor, when it comes around like money and manifestation.
That's a beautiful introduction question. I love that. So, my upbringing, when I look back at my childhood and how I've been raised in a middle class family, how my parents would pursue money and how they would talk about it. It's been a generation right after war. So the theme was always you have to work very hard to get to earn money, to make money, to be it wasn't even to be successful, just to have the basics. Life cannot be easy, and money is certainly not growing on the trees. We could go on vacations, but going to the grocery store and this is too expensive. We don't really need this. Really counting those pennies when there was literally much more abundance in the bank account than how it felt. And the theme of you really have to work and earn it was very big. And I've been always like a creative person. And then I was also like told often, yeah, who do you, not who do you think you are, but what do you think you cannot just make money out of like being a singer or being on stage? I've been told to, like, basically who you are as a person, you can really not make a lot of money. And yeah, it like really got me to the point where I kind of like gave up on all those dreams to like be myself and to be expressed on stage, where went to university and had a 9 to 5 job. And then I realized when I was in that job and I was a bartender at the same time and I had a side hustle and I still ended up not having enough money at the end of the month, getting from paycheck to paycheck. And then I was like, okay, this is absolutely not good. Like, I want to change that. I felt unfulfilled. I did not want it. I didn't want to work 7 days a week because, of course, in my mind, I was like, I want to get out of this job. It was too boring for me. I did not want to stay there. My creative, passionate side was just too strong, really wanting to create something. And that's really when I got into this work because I was putting in all this work on all these like 3 different jobs, but the money was still not enough. And then I stumbled across like one of my mentors, and she was talking about money and the energy of money and how belief systems are influencing how we see money and how much money we're making and how we are making it. And that hours and money are not attached. So this is like this man-made concept. And that's like really when I were really diving into this kind of work. And it really changed a lot for me. Um, so literally because I was raised with like these limiting beliefs around money that I really refused to believe. And they were not helping me either to create the reality I wanted to create.
So fascinating. We actually have very similar upbringings in that regard. I was raised by
Uh,
a single mother. So, and at the time, it was considered semi middle class, and she was doing pretty well for herself. She was a teacher. At that time, the salary was decent enough to be able to afford the basic necessities. We had a nice home for the standards and enough to eat and things like that. But being a single parent, I had images and recollections of my mom like pinching pennies and feeling like there wasn't enough. It's interesting how that story gets carried with you when you absorb it as a child, like there's not enough, it's not enough, or money's not enough, or there's not enough money. And then it translates into when you're actually going to do like your own type of work. I was doing bartending as well. So I really feel you with the
that's
several
so fun.
different hustle jobs to be able to make ends meet. I was definitely somebody who fell into the paycheck to paycheck cycle over and over again. I even got payday loans, which is absolutely terrible. But I'm grateful to hear this isn't just because my experience is Americanized, right? So I'm here in the United States, I'm having this experience. And granted, a lot of my counterparts are experiencing that. But it's very interesting to hear that from somebody who didn't grow up in the United States and actually grew up in a different country and is still having these same patterns of stories and behaviors and things like that. So, isn't it fascinating? Like, how did it feel to actually start going down that like rabbit hole of starting to understand and unpack those things around money and yourself? And then how is that like translated into the work that you do when it comes to helping your clients?
I went down the rabbit hole and I was like, wow, I started to understand myself clearly so much better, and I could understand my actions and thought processes so much better because I was running on this deep belief that it has to be hard for a very long time. And of course, there's still parts you still continue to work on within yourself. There's never an end journey to this for sure. But it's still like it has revealed so much for me. When you've created this new lens on money and how you can see it so differently. Also, the doors that are starting to open up for you. That was literally the reason why I started what I'm doing today because this work, the subconscious work, the working and rewiring my money beliefs really helped me. It helped me to triple my income during the pandemic. Job opportunities would just fall into my lap. While other people, as we know, they went through a hard time. And I was, what? This is absolutely insane. Like within a few months of doing this kind of work, if I can be very, very honest, most people that come to
Yes,
me,
please.
including myself, I actually don't even care about money. What we actually care about is the freedom and the experiences and what it gives to us. right?
Hmm.
But of course, the most 3D thing that is in our face that we have to deal with here on planet Earth is money. Um, and it's attractive, right? But it's what it gives you and what you can do then with this kind of money for the world.
That's so true. Yeah, you hit on such a wonderful point that brought me to an aha moment myself. We all have our interpretations of what money provides us, what money gives us. Like, what is the feeling? What is the emotion? What is like underneath that surface? And for me, I equated money with freedom. And so everybody has a different translation of freedom, right? What you think of freedom as
Exactly.
Sarah is different than what I think of freedom. And so for me, freedom, the essence or feeling of it is been these last 7 months, which is the ability to go where I want when I want to and to live out of my car and be on the open road and enjoy life. I have yet to reach millionaire status. I am currently building up my nervous system capacity for that. Tangibly, that's not in my 3D yet. Yet, I'm already experiencing life in the way that I thought that I could not before I started to rewire my mindset and my nervous system around what money would actually do for me. And so living this life, I'm just using myself as an example. Living
Absolutely.
this life had me understand on a deeper level that like I can still enjoy the bounty and fruitfulness of what life can offer me without feeling like I have to be sliding my credit card or giving cash to things. Granted, that's part of the exchange that I'm experiencing, but I think that's the concept that I had in my head for so long is that I cannot travel without money. When in reality,
Mm,
there's so many possible ways in which I can experience the freedom of travel and meeting new people and enjoying things, but still like living a life, not like, you know, in your 20s backpacking through Europe, like I'm living like right now I'm staying in a home that's like 5 bedrooms, ginormous, really really beautiful. There's like a fitness room downstairs. Like these are the type of things that I'm experiencing. Yet again, my old self before I did work was like I just was really stuck. Can you talk about this actually? Because I with hypnosis, I think this would be really cool. That people just we can get really stuck on the black and white, like it's either or. It's either like one or two, and like it can't
yeah.
be, something else when it comes to this more expansive experience that we're having.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is created through our upbringing, right? Like how we think we have to have an experience and what we need in order to get there. That is usually because we think we know how the how works. And you can absolutely release that in hypnosis because we think there's just this one way, how we logically made it up when there could be like so many other possibilities, as you just mentioned. I'm experiencing this life right now. I'm sitting in a 5 bedroom home, I'm dipping my feet into the millionaire lifestyle, like what it could feel like, right? A huge part of this is as well to understand that you're not in the how, like you're not in control of the how, which is for, I would say, for 70% usually the hardest part. Because
Yeah, I
then,
bet.
of course, also ego is into play and who are you?
Control freak controller.
You want to control the how. Yeah. And that really can get into the way of what you're doing. That's exactly like it's actually a beautiful way in the subconscious work to release the how as well.
Beautiful. Really, I love that you brought that in. We are designed as humans to be like in our own power and in our own sovereignty and like to take charge of like our life. And so we forget that there are other aspects that are working in tandem with us, right? So the quantum
Absolutely.
field, we've got higher energy sources, we've got quantum field energies, right? Which is just as powerful as we are. And yet we forget about that. And so we think that we are responsible for making things happen. And so this is like the conditioning
Right.
that I feel has been ingrained in us. I mean, you mentioned that at the beginning when you were sharing about how your story of like your parents and you're seeing things, you are kind of the creator of your own destiny in that way, but it's like kind of switching it a little bit and allowing to let go of what that end result is. it
Yeah.
could manifest in so many different ways. My first hypnosis session actually was in person. I remember thinking to myself, I'm doing it wrong. At that time, I didn't really understand about surrender and how the subconscious mind actually is working, even though your logical mind is still thinking. And you talk about what exactly it does and what it supports somebody with, that would be really, really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to do that. So this might be eventually for you, but hopefully for the listeners, still like it's an important piece to understand how the subconscious mind works because that's how hypnosis works. Okay, so I think the first important thing is with hypnosis, I cannot control people's minds. I get that a lot. Can you control me? No, if I could,
Right.
I just would go to the bank and hypnotize the person in the front and it just hand me all over the cash and just
Right.
create this massive fun for me. Yeah, no, clearly, like I cannot control people's minds. So the person who is sitting there and that I'm hypnotizing, they're in control of what they're ready to release, what they're ready to bring up. The subconscious mind knows what you're ready to see and to receive and what you can handle. So if there is a traumatic event or something coming up, you can handle it. That's why it's coming up. Your mind is here to keep you safe. That's very important to know. If someone has tried hypnosis before and they felt like this didn't work, I cannot be hypnotized, then what has happened here is that our brains just work differently. So some people, as I said, they're not fully trusting you yet. It just needs a little bit more time for many reasons. Like you just might experience it a few more time with the same person, or the person is just not your person. You just don't feel fully safe with them. Then number two is we need different cue words in the process itself. So some people are very visual, some people are very auditory, some people are very sensory. Then the other part is, so what are we doing actually in hypnosis? For that, you need to know a little bit about the science theory of the mind. You come into this world as a white blank paper. You don't have any beliefs in there, not any stories about yourself, not every story is about money, freedom, lifestyle, whatever it is. You are clean, you are a blank white paper. Now, the only fears you're born with is the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. So any other fear that you are experiencing or you've learned throughout your upbringing can be unlearned and rewired, which is actually already pretty cool in itself, right? Because if you've learned it one time, you can also unlearn it or learn something differently. When we talk about the subconscious mind and the subconscious mind makes up 95% of your mind, of your brain. That part, 95%, has stored the belief systems about yourself. Since we're talking about money, belief systems about money, how you think you can make money, how much effort is required, like what kind of work you have to do, all of that stuff. Like it has stored any perceptions about the world. And then we have the conscious mind. The conscious mind literally just makes up 5% of your brain. So when we're sitting here right now, we're thinking, yeah, we're like in full control, we're like doing everything how we want it to work. But as we're actually speaking right now, we're using 100%, but we are only controlling 5% of our brain. So everything else happens under your level of awareness, right? So all these
Right.
belief systems that are going on in your subconscious mind, they're just doing their own thing. Now, what's very interesting about with those belief systems, they translate into your reality. Like they translate into your face expression, your automatic behaviors, the way you speak. If you stumble across your words, like the choices you're making, it's actually incredible how it's influencing your everyday life, right? Okay. Now, when we're coming into this world, we have, as I said, our subconscious mind and the conscious mind. We have no filter. We're soaking everything up as a complete truth. Everything that is directly being said to us, like money is hard, don't be so lazy, don't do this, don't do that. Or also like if you're like constantly, like if your behavior is constantly being corrected, like you learn indirectly, like the way you are is not right. All of that stuff, like it's just being
Okay.
soaked up. Now, when you turn between 8 and 12, there is a barrier created. It's called the critical mind between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, what does this thing do? It's kind of like it works as a bouncer at the door when you go into a
Ooh,
club and it makes sure, right? It
that's a good
makes sure.
analogy.
Yeah, you like it? So basically, what it does is it makes sure that only if we're talking about the club, it's going to make sure that only the people who are fitting into the club, your subconscious mind, your belief systems can enter. Okay, now how does that look like in real life? Let's say you have this idea to be create a successful business. You want to make your 10, 20K a month. Create financial wealth for yourself. And ideally, you want to do it with something that you love, and you also don't want to burn yourself out. Now, this whole concept, this idea is coming to the critical mind, to our bouncer, and the critical mind is going to say, okay, let me see what's in there. If we take the club analogy, okay, let me see what's the dress code. Like, are you dressed right? Checks on you, like looks at you, right? And then when it looks into the subconscious mind, all it finds is you're not good enough. Who do you think you are? Just creating a fulfilling business? Like what? Um, to make money is hard, or people with a lot of money are evil. So this whole idea that you have there is basically just going to get out of your mind and it's going to trash because the critical mind wants to make sure that the ideas that are coming are in the same
Congruent. Yeah.
congruency, thank you, yeah, in the
Mhm.
same congruency as your subconscious beliefs. Now, why do we wanna do, hypnosis? Why is hypnosis important? Where does it come in? When you are in a hypnotic state, the critical mind is turned off, and we can go into the subconscious mind and directly work with those belief systems, rewire them, install something new, releasing the ones that aren't serving us. Yeah, and that's why subconscious work and hypnosis is so powerful. Like it literally takes um the hours you eventually spend in like journaling or telling yourself affirmations or going to talking therapy or a psychologist, like it really breaks it down into a fraction because you're working with 95% and not just with the 5% of your brain.
Right.
And I love
Wow.
hypnosis.
I can tell you can love I mean, I can tell you love hypnosis. And thank you so much, Sarah, for the science lesson. Like, that is so imperative. So, whoever's listening right now or watching this, like, if it doesn't make sense, go ahead and rewind and listen because that was very, very important information that Sarah actually just shared with us with in regards to like the importance not only of hypnosis but of the subconscious mind and breaking that down but actually how our minds are developed and when they're developed and why. Like, it's been a game changer for me, and I've noticed it's been a game changer for some of the people that I've worked with when I've had them do hypnosis. And I have to say one of the cherry on top is the feeling of more safety within myself when it comes to handling money and experiencing money because I realized my pattern of behavior was a roller coaster with money. Like, I had it, I didn't have it, or I have it and then I need to get rid of it. Or it just, I had this really deep ingrained story within myself that I'm inconsistent with money. So, what is
Mhm.
inconsistency? Develop in my like bodily senses is the feeling of waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for like something bad to happen, like, oh, I have this good thing, like it's only temporary, it's gonna go away soon anyways, so might as well just fling it everywhere,
Like,
right?
oh,
Or just get rid of it, right? However it was, if it's spending a lot. And I would have to say, just kind of circling back to this nervous system because we're talking about identity, which I want to get into in a moment, is that was really the beauty of doing that. Yes, having better relationship with money, the surface level things that you were talking about before is like, what is it that we really want to feel or experience? What does money give us? The best thing for me, because I find safety is one of the things within myself that I've discovered has been important to maintain and hold. I can explain it as if before I was a little container, of water and had a certain capacity. And now it's a bigger container of water, like a small kiddie pool, right? And then after that, it's like Olympic sized swimming pool. So the capacity of my expansion is bigger. And the best thing that's come from hypnosis.
it really, really, yeah, absolutely. Like there's beautiful exercises you can do like to expand your capacity in hypnosis because as you said, like if we don't feel safe having more or having the anxiety, when is the other shoe going to drop? Like everything is gonna crash at some point. So what's the whole point? So it's just like a wonderful tool to create the safety and at the same time increasing our comfort zone on
Yes.
what we can hold. I've kind of like stepped away from saying or being a fan of step out of your comfort zone because ultimately that's not really accurate. You cannot leave your comfort zone. You cannot. You can expand
Yeah.
it though.
Mhm.
You
Right.
can increase it. And that's
Right.
exactly the nervous system that you just mentioned. Like you need to feel safe in order to increase. And that's literally also a point like why I started to incorporate also nervous system work because that is the absolute baseline. If you just find yourself in constant survival, you make bad decisions, you make bad moves, you make bad decisions, and you certainly will not get to where you want to go.
Agreed. I'm just thinking of the time when I was in survival mode, just living paycheck to paycheck, right? I'm sure you relate to this, where
Yeah.
it was a literal survival mode. It was like, I need to pay this bill and this money's coming in and that bill's going this way. There was money coming in, but it was like, whoop, just out the door real quick. And
Yeah.
it was a very mentality of survival mode. I was barely filling up my gas tank on my car and just getting enough groceries. And survival mode definitely was a real thing. And that was an identity that I had for a long time. And I'm sure people can relate to this. It's like it's an identity that you've constructed based on like your belief system. That's why we're like kind of circling back to this. The belief system that's created, right? That we absorb when we're a kid from our caretakers, from our society, and then we create, like you said, the barrier in our brain. I really love that example with the bouncer. That was a really cool example. I've
Yeah.
used the example of like an orange, like when you cut an orange in half,
Mm.
and like the critical factor is like the rind, kind of like
Yep.
on the outside, like penetrating. So
Yep.
I like your example better with the bouncer. Like it's this identity that I created for myself. So, like you said, with hypnosis, it's such a great way to take out that old operating system. Like on our computer, right? We like take out literally the operating system and replace it
Yeah.
with a new operating system. Can you
That's really
talk a
how I
little bit?
imagine it.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's such a great way to just kind of think about it, rewiring the brain and like taking, yeah, a new system out. So when it comes to identity work, when it comes to the identity, and you touched upon this a little bit, hypnosis is such a beautiful tool to support in that transformation. Sometimes our ED takes a little while to catch up with like what's happening. Can you talk about that?
For sure. In general, the results can be from like literally like 1 or 2 sessions to, of course, a little bit longer time. It also really depends, like on some other factors as well, like your surrounding. Are you like literally in survival mode, as I said? And then, of course, like the other factor is, which personally helped me a lot, is are you taking the right actions?
Bingo.
Manifestation is really not just like sitting on your couch and doing all these beautiful processes and you're hoping for things to fall from the sky. And honestly, it takes bold actions. I've been definitely someone, I've done a lot of risky actions. And it's literally why my life has transformed in a crazy amount of speed to where I am today. But it came like of course it started with the hypnosis. It started with me literally sitting down every day and rewiring my brain. And I still do that.
Yeah.
Like other week, I have this process. I listen to it for like 3 beliefs that come up and I rewire them instantly. But the other part is like if you don't take the aligned action, actually, that brings me to a few steps that I usually guide my clients through
Oh,
as
yes,
well.
please.
I can share that. It's kind of like a 5 step framework we work on. And of course, not everything is always in order, but they come into this work at some point. So the first point is always you need to set an intention. You need to know where you're going. Like if you don't know what you want to say, as you said, like intentionally manifesting, like what are you trying to intentionally create? What is it? That is like the very important first step. And then that's the second step in this one is connecting to your intuition because your intuition has the answers. It can guide you to your next step. Now, Like, that's super important to understand, to connect with your intuition, how to distinguish between fear and logic. And honestly, intuition, that's why coming back to nervous system work, if you are in a constant state of anxiety and just trying to get by, it for some people it's very hard to hear intuition then. I don't say it's not possible. If you have not been really connected with it, it definitely will take some practice. And it's definitely easier to connect with your intuition when you are in a regulated state. Now, what
Agreed.
is your receiving the answers, the steps you're supposed to be taking next? Now you have to do the action. And that's literally what I said. Like, that's exactly where a lot of people unfortunately get stuck and their life barely changes because they don't take the action. And I was like, you could really change your life. I know it's so scary.
Agreed.
I know that. But honestly, you should have at least one thing that is scary on your to do list every day that pushes you a little bit outside from an aligned place. Now, the next step is surrendering to the outcome. And of course, that is like you really like learning how to lean into trust and letting go of the outcome, especially since we are so attached of trying to control how something is happening. That's very often the hardest part. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah. That is the challenging part.
Right? Letting go, surrendering the outcome. And then number 5 is like seeing yourself as the sovereign being. So, meaning you still have to do the choices. Life is not happening to you. You're not like a victim of life. You always have a choice. You have a choice. You also have the choice not to do the action. That's okay. You stay where you are. That's fine too. But I do think
Right.
these steps really, really help to, first of all, tap into that concept of like intentional manifesting. But then also, of course, over time, it's going to create this whole new identity of you. It's going to create this version of you who has already the thing that she wants, right?
Exactly. So true. And I want to point out something that I kind of had a light bulb moment about. And this is where I kind of have a little beef with the personal development industry that you see on YouTube and TikTok, where there's the constant kind of right in the middle of your framework, where it's like, take the action, right? Become that person, surrender and believe and act as if you were that person. But then the important component that you pointed out, and that's in my framework as well, is that you're forgetting the first couple steps. Like, if you are not in a place of safety and feeling more on the regulated, right, and you're taking action in a very anxious place, and
Mm,
you're taking action out of the energy of scarcity. Oh, I got to get that, or I have to. I get
yeah.
this way sometimes when I post on social media, like, oh, shoot, it's like 9 o'clock. I need to post something on social media, right? That energy isn't going to be in my best interest, right? Yes, I am taking the action because it has to do with my business, using myself an example, but I am not coming from this place of intention when it comes
Yes.
to the actual action. So I love that you have these aspects of 4, because oftentimes people are just plopped down in being like, okay, who do you want to be? What do you want to become? Let's take the action, blah, blah. But again, aligned action is only so good if you are actually in a place that is going to be in congruency with like your own truth and your intuition
Mm,
and your own like, self, right? So another example is at one time when I was working corporate, I was working insurance, and I got to the place where I can be a supervisor now. That's the logical next step to make more money. And so I went in and tried to get that supervisor position. I kid you not, like probably 5 times. And it wasn't until later that I started doing my own personal work and healing work that I was like, I know why I didn't get that job, because I really didn't want it. It wasn't in alignment with who I am as a person. I knew deep down I'm not meant for this type of work. I'm
mm,
not meant to do this work, boring insurance work. I'm meant to do spiritual work and manifestation work, right? And I didn't have the words at that time um to just to say that, but I knew in my body and in my sensation, "Ugh, I don't want to be here. This is not what
Sure.
I want to do." And so, of course, taking the action, I wasn't aligned with my heart and my desires and my intuition and who I am as a person. I just want to use that as an example so people can see um, that the importance of these steps actually need to be in conjunction with each other.
Exactly. I absolutely agree. Like, that's also just because someone tells you, okay, this is the next step. This is what you need to do. Like even with marketing frameworks and all of that, I'm using intuition for everything. I am like in talk, like in sync with my intuition. Like it doesn't
I
require
love that.
meditation for every question, which is great. But yeah, I'm like really bring it into to every aspect of your life because just because the personal development or mindset world has said, okay, this is how you do it. Like as you said, I have to post at 9 in the morning because the followers are active, all of that stuff. Check in with yourself. And
Yeah.
then, just for example, so maybe your intuition is going to tell you, no, just do the other stuff, have this later. And then eventually you're going to post it at a later time. And then eventually you have lesser likes. But then there's this one person who's like, oh my God, I needed to hear this. Hey, can I have more information on working with you? You know, like it's just, you just don't know what's coming after. So I think that's
Yeah.
very important to bring in, as you said, like not just taking whatever is out there because this seems to be the way. No, like your aligned action steps,
Right.
not from
Right.
other people. Yeah.
Yay. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing with us your framework. That's so helpful. Where can people find you? How can they work with you? Do you have any upcoming offers or any offerings that you'd like to share?
Yeah. You can find me on Instagram. I am Sarah with an H, Curl. Facebook, Sarah Currle. Website, www.sarahcurl.com. We can drop it in the show notes.
Yes.
And I do have, because offers change, but I do have a little freebie for
Wonderful.
everyone. It's called 30 Days to Money Magic.
Amazing.
It's a little workbook. It's totally free. It basically explains the quantum physics principle, how we are manifesting, how we are attracting things into our life. It has some super fun money manifestation techniques. They're absolutely amazing. Like, I have to say, there's one in it. I love to do it. It's like a 48-hour rule kind of thing where you put money out and you receive at least double the amount back. And it has worked so far, as far as I know,
Ooh,
for
I love that.
all people. It's super fun with little tips and money exercises in there and then affirmations. But like in general, affirmations, I find they're always only good if they meet you where you are at. So we're not just
Yes.
gonna write I am abundant or something like that. It's like really learning how to create um, affirmations for yourself that open something up in your subconscious mind.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And we'll have that link in the show notes as well. So you can make sure to touch base with Sarah and then also grab that freebie offer. So thank you so much for
Yes.
sharing that. And Sarah, it's been such a pleasure talking to you on the podcast about the subconscious mind, the nervous system, and also the money. And thank you again for giving us that science lesson. That is like so great. Like having that as background, that's really helpful for the listeners. So thank you so much, Sarah, for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Sarita. Thank you for everyone listening. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate your time and having
Yay.
me.
Okay. And we will see you next time on Back to Here with Sarita. Take care and keep being the amazing you that you are. Hey, love. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. If you adored what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review on the platform you are listening to this episode on. By doing this, you are helping my mission to impact other women with their healing journeys. If you aren't already following me on social media, make sure to connect with me at Sarita Wellness to get your weekly dose of inspiration. I can't wait to be with you in the next episode, but in the meantime, keep being the amazing you that you are.